Belmont, home congregation for Betty Braucher. I fear I must do some housekeeping before we go forward. It may be important to know where the bathrooms are. If you need to use the bathroom, go out the back door of the sanctuary, head towards the kitchen, and just before the kitchen, turn left, and there will be two doors, one on either side in that hallway. We're gathered here this afternoon to commemorate and to celebrate the life of Betty Braucher. She was born in 1918 and died this past August, just a month shy of her 96th birthday. Every human life, no matter how long it may last, is but a brief flicker of time. And no matter how long lived or how well lived a life may be, its ending still brings a sense of loss to those who live on it. We especially extend our condolences to Betty's children, grandchildren, and grandchild. But while we are here to acknowledge her passing, we are also here to celebrate her life, to celebrate the life she lived and the things of her life that live on in those who knew her. Let's begin this morning with responsive reading number 443 in the back of the hymnals. We arrive out of many singular rooms, walking over the branching streets.
We come to be sure, brothers and sisters around us, restore their image on our hearts.
We enlarge our voices in common speaking and singing.
We try again that solitude found in the midst of those who with us see their hidden writings.
Our eyes reclaim the remembered faces. Their voices stir the surrounding air.
The warmth of their hands assures us, and their gladness are our spoken names.
This is the reason of cities, of homes, of assemblies in the houses of worship.
It is good to be with one another.
And let's sing together hymn number 21.
From the Tao Te Ching, Chinese sacred text by Lao Tzu. Know the male spirit, yang, but keep to the female spirit, yin. Be a river valley to the world under heaven, and virtue will not fade. Thank you so much for coming, especially to my daughter, Elizabeth Levi Tobin, named after my mother. I learned a great deal from my mother, and now I learn much from my daughter. The valley spirit never dies. It is the woman, primal mother. Greetings from our church, First Unitarian Church of Portland, Oregon, one of the largest UU congregations in the nation. And our senior minister, Reverend Bill Sinkford, first African-American president of Unitarian Universalist Association. One of my mother's great gifts to me was bringing me here to this beautiful building and warm community where I learned a great deal. Volunteerism and inclusion of all faiths were very important to my mother. Descriptions of my mother from friends and relatives: a vibrant presence, vivacious, sharp wit, prominent, and formidable. She was multifaceted, and this is the facet I've selected to mention: her love of books, which I share and which my daughter shares. Mother filled our home with all kinds of books, including, in my teen years, a dictionary in the dining room, heavily used. She read to her children and her local grandchildren. At Cadbury Commons, her assisted living community, she told me she missed her large collection, her own private library, created over a lifetime, though she had many books with her. Cicero once wrote, "If you have a garden and a library, you have everything you need." In Belmont and Arlington, my mother had everything she needed: a garden and a library. Here's a poem about the importance of books by Czesław Miłosz, winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature. A contemporary of my mother, he knew much about war and the importance of saving texts, ideas, and fellow human beings. In addition to the Nobel Prize, he received the Medal of the Righteous Among the Nations in Israel for helping Jews in Nazi-occupied Warsaw, Poland. He later became a U.S. citizen, and he was a Catholic. And Yet the Books by Czesław Miłosz. And yet the books will be there on the shelves, separate beings that appeared once, still wet as shining chestnuts under a tree in autumn, and touched, coddled, began to live in spite of fires on the horizon, castles blown up, tribes on the march, planets in motion. We are, they said, even as their pages were being torn out, or a buzzing flame licked away their letters. So much more durable than we are, whose frail warmth cools down with memory, disperses, perishes. I imagine the earth when I am no more. Nothing happens, no loss. It's still a strange pageant. Women's dresses, dewy lilacs, a song in the valley. Yet the books will be there on the shelves, well-born, derived from people, but also from radiance, heights. May my mother's love of books, stories, poetry, and words themselves inspire us all. Though the body dies, the Tao, the spirit, never passes away. Amen.
Well, good afternoon. It's wonderful to see so many family members and friends here. Betty Braucher had a thing for frogs. With their large eyes, loud croaks, and lithe bodies, making them great swimmers. A lot of her fascination had to do with how frogs exude not only secretions, but potential as they transform from eggs to tadpoles to maturity. She collected frog figurines, and she loved frog stories, especially the folktale about the frog prince told by the brothers Grimm. If you don't know the story, it's about a prince who, to escape from a spell as a frog, must get a princess to let him eat from her plate, drink from her cup, and sleep in her bed. Spoiler alert, he succeeds, and he marries the princess. The Grimm version does not mention a kiss to break the spell. That's a modern adaptation. This story has inspired many modern writers. Some focus on the ick factor for the princess of having the frog lapping from her plate and cup and sharing her bed. My mother did not feel that dread of frogs. Here's how she inscribed a beautifully illustrated children's book of the Frog Prince when she gave it to her granddaughter Emma for her 2nd birthday, September 24th, 1993. Happy birthday to Emma from Grammy Betty, who likes frogs. So, I've chosen the poem The Frog Prince by British poet Stevie Smith, and told by the frog himself, who is anxious about changing. Smith said that it was a religious poem. Of her own religious views, Smith said there was always a danger she might lapse into belief. A very Unitarian thought. So, The Frog Prince by Stevie Smith. I am a frog. I live under a spell. I live at the bottom of a green well. And here I must wait until a maiden places me on her royal pillow and kisses me in her father's palace. The story is familiar. Everyone knows it well. But do other enchanted people feel as nervous as I do? The stories do not tell. Ask if they would be happier when the changes come, as already they are fairly happy in a frog's doom. I have been a frog now for 100 years, and in this time I have not shed many tears. I am happy. I like the life, can swim for many a mile when I have hopped to the river, and am forever agile. And the quietness, yes, I like to be quiet. I am habituated to a quiet life. But always, when I think these thoughts, as I sit in my well, another thought comes to me and says, it is part of the spell to be happy, to work up contentment, to make much of being a frog, to fear disenchantment. Says it will be heavenly to be set free, cries heavenly the girl who disenchants, and the royal time heavenly, and I think it will be. Come then, royal girl, and royal times, come quickly. I can be happy until you come, but I cannot be heavenly. Only disenchanted people can be heavenly.
share glossophobia, the fear of speaking, with Jonah. And I also fear Jonah's book to be cautionary. So rather than boating to Tarshish, I'll talk. I'm the second of mother's 4 children, born in 1947 and shaped by the 60s. Mother grew up when Americans drove Model Ts to silent movies. She'd lived through the Depression and World War II. At first, she resisted her children's strange rebellion, but she gradually changed with the times. I recall coming home from college and being surprised to find her listening to the Beatles. During Mother's 33-year widowhood, I lived only a few miles away, as eldest sons often do. Consequently, Mother saw my children grow from infancy to their 30s. I remember her babysitting, her bedtime stories, countless birthdays, and hot summer afternoons by the pool at her Arlington house. She befriended my wife. My sons surely recall Grammy Betty arriving late Christmas morning as a sort of Santa Redux, a generous gift giver and an astute gift selector. However, when it came to receiving gifts,